Hi everyone, back to channel. Today we are going to learn Paragonmius westermani. This was first found by Kerbert and Braun, and this is also known as Oriental lung fluke and the lung dystome. So more than 20 species of this Paragonmius infect the human. The most common is the westermani, which causes pulmonary paragonimiasis in man, and it is also called as Oriental lung fluke. So it was first described in the description in tiger, and first case found in the Taiwan. And now let us see the morphology of the adult worm. Here you can see how the adult worm looks. And the adult worm has a oral sucker, vitellera, ovary, ootype, lobed testis, excretory bladder, and also uterus here. So the adult worm, it's thick ovoid shape with ventral surface flat, fleshy reddish brown in color. Yes, ventral surface is flat and fleshy reddish color. And the oral and the ventral suckers are equal in size. Here the oral sucker, ventral sucker, yes, equal in size. Two lobated testes. Here you can see the two lobated testes present side by side at the posterior of the body. The ovary and uterus are situated respectively at the left right of ventral sucker. Here the ovary and here is the uterus. Next, eggs. You can see the eggs. This is a 10x40 magnification. The eggs are yellow brown in color, oval shaped and operculated. They measure 80 to 118 μm, and each egg contains a fertilized unsegmented ovum surrounded by more than 10 vitelline cells, that is yolk sac cells. So the shape is irregular ellipse, 100 into 50 micrometer, and yellow brown. Here you can see how the obvious operculum and shell is thick and uneven, and it is containing a fertilized ovum surrounded by the 10 yolk sac cells. So this is the fertilized ovum, and these are the surrounding yolk sac cells, that are 10. And the life cycle is, first the man gets the infection by eating uncooked crab or containing metacercia. Here the metacercia is the infective form. So whenever the man eats the uncooked or raw crabs or crayfish, it enters into the small intestine, where this larva escape and penetrates the intestinal wall, and next may enter into the peritoneal cavity, entering the diaphragm. Next the final destination is lungs. So the mature to the adult worms, that is by fertilization, they lay the unembryonated eggs, and the egg is released in the sputum. As because of this disease there is severe cough, the egg will be released from the sputum, and next it is swallowed. So that egg in the feces, actually it is swallowed by sputum to another person, and the egg in the feces gets enter into the water, and next it develops into a miracidium. We know the miracidium is present inside the eggs. It is a ciliated structure which is surrounded by a shell. But when it enters the snail body, because of the snail's gastric juices, the egg shell gets break down, and the inside ciliated miracidium comes out into the snail, and it undergoes the metamorphosis to form the sporocyst. Same like our before chloranthiasis, here also the sporocyst converts into a radia of first and second generation. Inside the radia there are seraceria which come out, and these are the short stumpy tail seraceria, but whereas in chloranthiasis there is a long free swimming seraceria. Now this seraceria in the water gets attacked to the crab or the crayfish. So this crab or the crayfish, in this it undergoes encystation to form the metacercia, which is an infective form. So whenever the human again eats this uncooked crab or uncooked crayfish, it leads to this disease. So it may also cause tuberculosis like symptoms, and the host may be, the pair mastoid completes its life cycle in one definitive host, that may be the man, dogs or cat, and it requires two intermediate hosts. So the first intermediate host is snail, and especially the optimum snail host is the Melalina libertina species, and the second is the crabs or the crayfish. Now the life cycle. The mode of transmission, the man acquires the infection by eating uncooked, partially cooked, salted, even partially cooked or salted and pickled crab also may cause this disease, because mainly of the metacercia, which is a infective form. And next the development in man, in small intestine metacercia escape out and penetrate the intestinal wall to reach the peritoneal cavity, and they pierce the diaphragm to reach the lung parenchyma and settle near to the bronchus. So the larvae mature into adult worms which start laying unembryonated eggs that are cuffed out in the sputum. So the eggs are swallowed and excreted in the feces for the 5 to 6 weeks after the onset of infection. And next the further development of the eggs takes place in the water, where the miracidia hatch out from the eggs in 2 to 3 weeks at 29 to 31. So it requires a humid temperature to live in the water, and next it attacks a snail. The Miracidium released from the each egg infects the snail and undergoes the asexual multiplication to produce the sporocyst, that is metamorphosis, in the snail. So the sporocyst through 2 generations of radii give rise to the stumpy-tailed Ceraceria in 3 to 5 months. So the development of crab or crayfishes, the mature Ceraceria escape from the snail hosts, are ingested by crabs or crayfish. So the Ceraceria insists to form the metacercia, which is the infective form, which when ingested by man, the cycle gets repeated. So this is the life cycle. And summary is nothing but the adults live in the lungs and outside the lung, brain. So sometime it may be the pulmonary type or extrapulmonary paragoniasis. So if it is extrapulmonary paragoniasis, it goes to brain, spinal cord and also other sides of the body. So the eggs are passed in the sputum or feces. So sometimes when it goes to brain, it may form the bloody brain, which may also lead to the which may also be fatal. And next, the eggs are passed in the sputum or feces, and the infective stage is metacercia. Infective mode is by oral or eating raw crustaceans. And the pathogenesis is physical trauma of young flukes or adult worms, migration and lodge in the tissue, and the chemical damages of fluke toxin. So what this fluke does is whenever it enters the body, it invades all our tissue because it eats our tissue like its nutrition. So it easily destroys our lung parenchyma, leading to severe lung distress, causing dyspnea and also other difficulties. So the process of pathological changes may be divided into acute and chronic stage. The acute is somewhat normal stage, but the chronic is the most dangerous. The acute is invasion and migration, that is from intestinal wall, peritoneal cavity, diaphragm, pleural cavity and lungs. So cause the destruction and hemorrhage. And the symptoms are fever, diarrhea, abdominal pain, chest pain, tight sensation, cough and eosinophilia. So that is nothing but tuberculosis like symptoms. And the chronic stage is abscess, granuloma and fibrous scar. So it migrates, destruction and causes hemorrhage, neutrophilic and eosinophilic leukocytes infiltrate, causing the abscess. And also the granuloma tissue are stimulated to proliferate to form the worm cysts. So this cysts contain worms, thick fluid, eggs and charcoal-laden crystals. This is important, charcoal-laden crystals. And next, the worm die or move to other sites. The empty cyst will be filled with the fibrous scar next. So first this worm, worm moves away from the lungs, it leads into a fibrotic lung because of this fibrous scars. And the clinical manifestation is this paragoniasis may be involve many organs except lung. Generally manifestation divided pulmonary, extrapulmonary. Extrapulmonary are named after the organs. Example, you can take the pulmonary paragoniasis, cerebral paragoniasis, liver paragoniasis and cutaneous paragoniasis. And next, the pulmonary paragoniasis is the most important. Chronic cough, chest discomfort, blood tinged sputum, rusty brown sputum. This is important. The person with this infection may have the rusty and blood tinged sputum whenever he coughs. And the results of the chest X-rays show there are some significant changes in lung, which are often considered to be clinical symptoms of tuberculosis and other pulmonary diseases. Here you can see how the lungs are affected by the worms. So there can be a surgical procedure to remove these worms from our lungs. So the cerebral paragoniasis, you can see the symptoms are acute stains of fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, visual disturbance, paralysis. As it is now going to cerebral part, it may lead to visual defects and also some confusion, nausea, vomiting, etc. So it is more common in the young age people. Here you can see how these worms entered our cerebral part. And next, the liver paragoniasis, the disorder of liver function, large liver pain are common symptoms of liver paragoniasis. So whenever it enters liver, it causes the liver pain. And the wandering swelling nodes, whenever in the skin, you can see how the swelling nodes are formed. And the diagnosis is by mainly the history of having stayed in or been endemic area and spitting and characteristic sputum, and also correct diagnosis must be confirmed by OVA. Eosinophilia is generally present. And the parasitical examination is the microscopic demonstration of characteristic operculated eggs in the sputum or the feces. So we find it mostly in the feces. So the larva or the adult worm may be found from the biopsy of nodules or cysts. And the test we do is that IDT, that is intradermal test, directly like here, and ELISA and also dot ELISA. Actually, the two blind intestinal ceca are unbranched and they are found in the caudal region, and the genital apparatus follows the same general pattern of the tremators. So the lifespan of the adult worms is 6 to 7 years, but whenever they reach our lung, they may also live for 20 to 30 years. And here you can see the X-ray examination. The chest X-ray shows radio-opaque shadows in middle and lower segments of the lung. And the CT scan of the chest, abdomen and head shows a cystic cavity. Here you can see how the cysts are formed because of this worm. And you can see it's present in China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Thailand, and also in Africa, Cameroon, Congo, Gambia, Nigeria, and in South and Central America, Colombia, Mexico, Peru. So these are most epidemic areas for this infection. And the presence of parentic hosts, that is wild pigs, monkeys, and small mammals. Prevention is by sanitary disposal of sputum, control of snails, treatment of cases, and health education. So the main drug which we give for this is parasequental, which is given 25 mg for 3 doses per 2 days, and the drug of choice is paragonimasis. And also bithionol can be used for 100% cure rate without any side effects, and also surgical management if needed for pulmonary or cerebral lesions. And there are also some other drugs like you can use niclofan, and also bithionol is actually a dichlorophenol derivative, and we also use a praziquantel. So this is all for the treatment. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe.